Good morning, class of 2020. What an interesting time we're in right now. What an interesting time in our lives we're living in right now. But I salute you and commend you for making it to this day. And suffice it to say, we've used adjectives like interesting and crazy and wild and what in the flip is going on probably every day for the past 4 months. And it's obvious that we're in a storm right now. But what I want to talk to you about for just a few moments is the first storm versus the second storm. You see, when this started hitting our shores about 4 months ago, I would say that this is one that we can't control. The first storm is the one you can't control. But the second storm is one that's created by our decisions. So, for example, if you're going through something right now, we're all facing this. We're all facing this global pandemic and this worldwide shutdown and trying to ask ourselves what in the world is going on right now. And we know that that's the storm that we're all in. But oftentimes we create a second storm based on the decisions that we make. And in this season of uncertainty, a lot of us are creating second storms that are worse than the first. And the question that I have is, are you running to places more dangerous than the storm itself? Steve, what do you mean by that? Well, sometimes people get lonely, right? And loneliness could be your first storm, but running back to your ex might be a second storm that's creating a bigger problem than the first. And perhaps there's an issue of depression that you've been facing that probably many have, along with anxiety. Are we creating a second storm based on how we react to that first in terms of that depression? And I believe that one thing that we can learn in the middle of all this is the difference between a reaction and a response. You see, a reaction is knee-jerk, it's emotional, and it's short-sighted. A response is thought out, methodical, and sees the big picture. Consider for a moment if you've ever had to call emergency services or a 911 call. Most of the time, we are calling them because something has gone wrong with us or a loved one. We are in a panic. Imagine what would happen if the other person on the other end of that line was just as panicked as you were. This is why it's called an emergency response team, not an emergency reaction team. You've seen it all over social media, the reactions. But what about taking a little bit of time to put some thought into it before you offer a response? And as we are all going through this collectively, I would submit to you, as the graduates and everyone listening and watching, that it's not what you go through that determines where you end up. It's who you listen to and what you guide by. We're all going to face things in life, but then who do you go to for advice? Are you thirsty and perhaps the source you're going to is causing you even more dehydration? To the class of 2020, I would say this: control what you can, which are your words, your thoughts, your emotions, your responses, and your actions. And control your response to what you can't, which is pretty much everything else. What do you do with what you can't control? What you didn't predict and what you don't prefer? The answer? You manage it. When seasons cannot be avoided, they must be managed. And how it is managed determines whether or not it's prolonged or permanent. You see, graduates, the course and the quality of our life is going to be determined by our ability to handle what we didn't see coming. Friends, let me tell you, this is not the last time your plans are going to be thrown off course. This is not the last time that what you predicted would happen will not. And my question to you is, will you use this time to learn from the downtime and tuck it away for when you need to draw on this experience again? You see, the truth you store up in silence comes back to you in the storm. Difficult times can diminish us, define us, or develop us. We are the ones who get to choose. And you see, friends, it's not the load that weighs us down. It's the way that we carry it. A restless soul is one that thinks it needs to be in control and fix everything. Graduates, in the journey of life, emotions make great companions, but terrible leaders. Let me say that again. Emotions make great companions, but terrible leaders. Anxiety does not come from thinking about the future, but from wanting to control it. And when we want to control everything, we enjoy nothing. Consider this. What if what you went through wasn't meant to destroy you, but to develop you? What if everything you're going through is preparing you for what you asked for? Embrace it all. Every flaw and imperfection, every wound and broken place, every season. Nothing is wasted. Everything belongs in the story of you. Grace means that all of our mistakes serve a purpose instead of serving shame. And while you physically may not have been in school since March 13th, you have been in school, and you have been going to class, and life has been your teacher. And in a season like this, are you going to apply what hopefully you have learned? You don't get to choose every situation, but you do get to choose the story you tell yourself. This is all about perspective. Will you choose to allow pity because you're graduating in July? Or will the story you tell that you got to be the historic and first class to get to graduate in July instead of May? It's all up to you. And I would tell you this in closing. I want you to consider a simple math equation. You might say, Steve, I'm done with school. Hear me out because I believe this can help you. I call it the power of 9. As you are listening to this in your car, as you're watching from wherever you are, I submit this to you. What's 1 plus 8? Yell it out. 1 plus 8. Exactly. How about 2 plus 7? 6 plus 3? 5 plus 4. You all should have gotten the answer of 9. And what you just showed me in a simple math equation is you all arrived at the same conclusion, but you took different paths to get there. And see, friends, if you stay within the first draft of your dream that you think is your dream, then the chances of you being disappointed are 100%. But if you allow for revisions to what you believe you're called to do or be what you thought it would look or feel like, then it leaves you open to another version of what that might actually be. And to teach you to hold on to your dream and not let anything take it away or change it would teach you to not be flexible. We have to be tenacious about keeping our faith, but open-handed about what manifestation that takes in each season. Graduates, it's okay if you get distracted and maybe even disappointed, but never allow yourself to be defeated. You are living through history right now. Years from now, people are going to be reading about what you are living through right now. And you can choose to see this as, oh man, I can't believe we have to do this way and graduate this way. But I would challenge your perspective and say, we're the first ones who get to do this, and 2020 will live in infamy. You can either choose to be a victim of history or a victor of the history that you've lived through. To the class of 2020, congratulations, and I salute you on making it this far. Now go out and continue to make history. Thank you.